Hello, my name is Patrick Quinn, and this is my channel, The 11th Celt. About a year ago, one of the ladies from church approached me and said that she heard that I knew how to sew. I told her, yes, that is indeed the rumor. She asked if I'd be willing to teach the young boys in the 4-H program how to sew because she'd been trying to do it and just really couldn't capture their interest and thought maybe somebody like myself, a guy and a veteran, might have better luck doing that. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. Unfortunately, it never got approved, so it never happened. However, it gave me the idea to do this channel. Now, I'm sure in the minds of many young men, they're out there, at the top of their head, they're thinking, gee, what can I possibly do with a sewing machine? Well, that all depends on what your field of interest is. I imagine the 4-H program, you're doing a lot of agriculture products, stuff like feed bags and horse blankets. There's also pet supplies. There is medical gear. There's first responder gear. There's recreation gear. There's tactical gear, and there's even, getting into the apparel industry. All depends on what you find an interest in. Everything I listed, I've actually dabbled in quite a bit from time to time, and what I want to do now is show you examples of everything that I've built over the years. To start with, let's look back at some of these projects that I had done back in the late 90s. These are dog diapers for those of you who don't recognize them. And this was a departure from the normal stuff that I was working on, like military gear and outfitting equipment. Anyway, my late wife and our next door neighbor were both working as vet techs at veterinary hospitals, and were looking at getting into dog breeding. They would also go out to the dog shows and peruse the merchandise to see if they could get any ideas. They came back to me and said, hey, this is what we want to build, and they would go out and pick out the fabrics and then bring them to me to assemble. This was something new for me, so I had to go out and start sizing up different size dogs. Luckily, we had a full range of dog sizes, from English Mastiffs down to a little wire hair terrier. Anyway, so this is what I came up with. We obviously sold out of the middle-sized diapers, but I ended up throwing in a couple of camouflage models by using leftover fabric I had from my other projects, just to give the dads and the husbands a little bit of credibility so they wouldn't have to give up their man cards. Other work that I've done is feed bags, horse blankets. Well, I haven't built an entire horse blanket, but I have repaired and modified a few of them. And I've done a lot of repair work on outfitter tack, panniers and that kind of stuff. I was working in the outfitting industry for a while there, so I had a lot of experience working around that equipment. This is my ice pauldron. I built this because I had to undergo a couple of shoulder surgeries due to service-related chassis damage. Anyway, the physical therapist had one of these large blue gel packs, bigger than the skinny ones that I was used to using. So what I had to do was come up with a way to keep that in place to put on the shoulders while I was recovering. Unfortunately, looking online, I didn't see any production pieces that looked like they would provide the coverage that I was needing or that I wanted. So I ended up just fiddling around with materials I had on hand. Started out with a very crude prototype, and then when the second shoulder was coming, I went into town to Jo-Ann Fabrics and got the same material that normally those gel packs come in, and rebuilt the whole thing, but using that material. And I added the padded collar on there to keep the neck from getting irritated. But as you can see, this thing fits very well, and you can walk around all day with that thing on, and it's not going to shift on you. Jumping over into recreation/tactical gear, these are biathlon slings that I made for hunting rifles. I originally made these overseas for the snipers over in Afghanistan, and these things worked out beautifully. You can carry anything from an M4 carbine to an M107 sniper rifle. For the gun enthusiasts, these are a couple of battle belts that I've made over last couple of years. These are good for your range setup if you're doing shooting competitions. You can also make these for tactical operations. Along the lines of your battle belt there, your tool belt. These I made as a solution to a problem that I was presented with overseas. A guy came in, and he'd had a magazine that had been torn up in an operation and asked me if I could come up with a replacement for it. So I just took the chewed up one that he had and then kind of undid a lot of it and then reverse engineered it. This can handle both a 5.56 or a 7.62 magazine. You don't need to adjust it. You just, except maybe the tension on the top. I also have made these for pistols, or I'm sorry, for pistol magazines. You can use these again for single stack, double stack mags, multi-tools, or small tactical flashlights. Working with the local volunteer fire department, we had a problem getting some decent shoulder slings for our wildland firefighting, and we tried a different number of different models, and it wasn't until I started looking at what our paramedic counterparts were carrying. They had the official leather radio slings that most urban firefighters carry. Took the idea from the magazine pouch and basically applied it to here. So if you're trying to come up with ideas to work on, this is another one that you can do. And I can show you how to do it. Now, if I may be so bold, I'd like to go ahead and just say this right here is probably one of the coolest pieces of custom tactical gear ever made. I did 2 different contracts. One was tech support and the other one was rapid fabrication. In both jobs, the employers provided us with the proper size fitting body armor or plate carrier, but the problem was I never got the right size plates. The only thing they had to give me were medium-sized plates, and I usually wear an extra large. What this meant was that when I'm out wearing these things, the plate is literally banging around in there and shifting around, and it was really discomforting to know that the plate might shift right at the wrong moment when a bullet's coming in. So what I decided to do was create my own custom plate carrier. And this thing right here can accommodate any size or shape plate from medium to extra large. And it could do all that without changing the outside surface where all your gear is mounted. Front and back. It's kind of crude compared to the production models that you can buy online or whatever, but it'll do just as good a job and it'll hold up into any condition. So I do want to make a new one of these and probably improve it, do a lot of different changes in how some of these components look. But yeah, this is something that you can do once you get your skill set up on a sewing machine. This is something to look forward to, making your own gear like this. Now, believe it or not, apparel is not my thing, which is ironic because this was probably the most ambitious endeavor that I've undertaken to date. This is my patrol-based lounge jacket, or PBLJ. It's very much similar to the Whoopee smoking jackets you'll see out there on veterans' websites. It's nothing new. Those things have been around since at least the mid-'80s as far as I know. It's just my design is a superior version of that concept. I made like I made over 25 of these things. And before you ask, no, you cannot get one in this print because they no longer make the print in this fabric anymore, so sorry about that. However, I did find a local manufacturer here in the state to make a number of these for me. It's a limited production run. They come in this color, which is olive green, also foliage green, coyote brown, and woodland camo. I'll leave the links for the website where you can find these in the show notes. So if you want to learn more about this, a friend of mine came out here to do an interview for his YouTube channel, which is Old Soldier. I'll leave the links in the show notes. But we go through about 30-35 minutes talking about the history of this thing, the background, my thought process, and how I put this all together. It's pretty cool. And it was built for a really good cause. So that's a pretty good assortment of things that you can do with the sewing machine. I mean, again, it depends on what you're interested in. I tend to get bored and I bounce around into different markets and fields. That's why I never finished design school. To be honest, I never even took a sewing class, believe it or not. I just started picking it up over time. I initially started sewing when I was in basic training back in the 80s. I put in for a road guard for the Three Wise Men, but just using needle and thread, and then eventually I got into working with sewing machines, and then I got into more advanced sewing machines, and just having a blast doing it. It's, you know, like I said, it's what you find interesting to work with. And, you know, I get bored working in one field, and I'll jump over to another field and work on that. Or I see someone else making something, and I ask, you know, hey, I wonder if I can do that. So, and that's basically how I do this. So with that, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and send them to me. I will try to answer them. And see you on the next video. Thanks.